Welcome back to another episode of Quarantine Talks. Myself, Mayowa Quadri, and today I've got someone that's achieved some of the things in sport that everyone dreams of doing. He's won a medal at home Olympics. He's been one of the greatest prospects within the country, within boxing, and he's now a wrestler. I have the one and only Anthony Ogogo. Before we go any further as well, massive shout out to Athletes Media Group as well for setting this up. But yes, we have the one and only Anthony Ogogo. How are you, bro?
I'm good, mate. Thank you. Very well. Very well. Thank you. Thanks for the lovely introduction as well.
Thanks
I'm good.
Thank
you.
Thanks for
I'm good, mate.
It's
It's a pleasure. Really a pleasure. I'm good, thank you. I'm well. Keeping well. Keeping busy. Trying to make the best of this bad situation that we're all stuck in. So I'm doing all right.
No, sounds good. I know you've been very, very busy, and it's quite fitting that you're where you are now is probably a familiar setting for yourself, but loads of people that follow you because of the 7-minute workout stuff. So you've been active, but one thing I've been asking everyone I've had a conversation with so far is, how is your diet going through quarantine?
Do you know what? Good question. I'm trying to. So, mate, I still find it funny the fact that like when you Google my name, I never Google myself.
Yeah.
I only ever Google myself when I've got to send the picture to somebody. That, for example, recently I did an Instagram live workout with Oti Mabuse. She's a Strictly Come Dancing partner, my partner from 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And she asked me for a picture. Like, have you got a picture of yourself from like when you're boxing? And if you go through my phone, you wouldn't know I was boxing. Come into my house, I've got nothing boxing. In my house is my little gym that I've built. There's boxing stuff in here, obviously, but so I haven't got any pictures of me boxing or anything. So I'm always focused on the next thing rather than looking back. Yeah. Anyway, so I Googled myself to get a picture, and then when I Google myself, it says Anthony Ogogo, professional wrestler, which still cracks me up. Like, it's still funny to me. And when you said it a minute ago, it's boxer, I turned wrestler, I still smile. To me, it's still funny. Still really surreal. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so I was saying about my diet. So I'm kind of in the midst of training. Like, I've been a boxer my entire life, 18 years, and I had to make middleweight, which was 72 kilos, 11 stone 6, which is a pain in the backside to make. Every single time I fought, I had to lose 1.5 stone, 2 stone. Whereas now, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm trying to get bigger. I'm trying to get big and muscly for the first time in my life. So I'm now eating everything. However, the last 8 weeks, I've tried to stop. I can be quite greedy. So, given the opportunity, I will eat the whole snack cupboard in one sitting, no problem. But I've got to be a bit better now. So I'm now trying to eat like still loads, still the frequency and the quantity is massive, but like all clean stuff. So yeah, my diet's been all right. That's my roundabout way of saying, yeah, man, my diet's been fine.
Yeah, because it's crazy because that's one of the first things that can go when it's times, because you find yourself at home more, and like you mentioned, the snack cupboard is a little bit closer than it used to be, so you can just probably pop in everything you want and whatnot. But yeah, you've mentioned that it's weird for you now when people say wrestler. For me, when I saw that happen as well, I was kind of like, oh wow, that's really interesting, because if you look at your career, anyone that didn't know, you have been boxing from a young age. I know you played a little bit of football when you were younger, and you was at Norwich for a little bit, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. There's a million. I always said it. There's a million things that I can't do. I mean, I cannot do. For example, in my house, if we put a shelf up or a picture up, my wife does it. I'm so bad at a million things. However, one thing I was always good at sport. As a kid, I was always very talented when it comes to sport. I was always really competitive, which fed my competitive drive. So yeah, I was always good at sport. And as a kid, I played for Norwich, a captain of my county, football, and so just
So you
carry on.
Did football, boxing. You always excelled, and then you had your career. I mean, you after Olympics, turned pro and everything. Career's going the way you want it to. Of course, loads of injuries. Injuries then caused you to retire, and then next, it was your wrestler. And it's like, wait, hold on, where's that happen from? So how did that transition to wrestling happen? What?
Do you know what it was? It was just the fact that I've still got more. Like you mentioned, like my whole boxing career was riddled with injuries. I riddled Olympic Games. I went into Olympic Games with a dislocated shoulder, a broken rib, torn Achilles tendons, to the point where my Achilles needed 4 surgeries on, like in the next couple of years. So it smashed to bits. And my mum was really ill. Sorry, man, I got something in my eye. Give me 2 seconds, buddy.
No worries.
Really, really sorry.
No, it's all right.
I've been up in the loft today. Again, like I'm not the guy to go into the loft. That's what you got a handyman for. But he's busy today, so I've got to start doing things myself. I've got things in my eye. Anyway, my boxing career, had loads of injuries.
How many surgeries was it that you had in that 3 years when you was like pro? How many surgeries was it? It was more than 10, surely.
So I was, So I was a pro. I turned pro. I was the first person from the Olympic team in 2012. Me, Lou Campbell, Anthony Joshua, Nicola Adams. I was the first person to turn pro. I was the first person to turn pro. I had my first fight, and then I didn't retire until I was only an active fighter from 2013 to 2016. Yeah, so 3 years. But when people say I was a pro for 3 years, that upsets me because I was a pro for 6. I was injured for 3 years, and I'd actually officially retire this time last year. I think it was March 2019 I retired. But I spent the best part of 3 years trying to get back in the ring after suffering my eye injury. So, yeah, I mean, I had 9 operations on my eye, just my eyes, to get after the last injury that kind of ended my career. Before that, I had 4 surgeries on my Achilles, 1 on my shoulder. So my boxing career, my pro career, I had 1 shoulder surgery, 4 on my Achilles, that's 5, then 9 on my eye, so that's 14 altogether. Just in my pro career. In an amateur career, I've dislocated my shoulder twice, 2 more surgeries, operation on my nose, and other things as well. So I've been really, really unfortunate with injuries. I don't want to kind of dwell on that too much because I can't do anything about it. It's just part of my career, it's part of my life. I want to move on from it and learn as much as I can from it. But yeah, I mean, the reason why I got into wrestling rather than anything else is because I felt so much I had so much left to give. Like I wasn't nowhere near able to dispel my talent, first and foremost, my ability, my determination, my passion, my drive. Like I didn't get to display that in boxing because the injuries curtailed my career way before I should have. Like my last fight, I was 27 years old. I was then entering the prime of my life.
Yeah, that's you were literally entering world level sort of, let's get the belts now, right towards the end.
I was 2-5. So even up until that point, as you heard a minute ago, I had time out with my Achilles. My Achilles were bad from before the Olympics, from the Commonwealth Games in 2010, and I struggled through. And I was sparring Carl Froch. And Carl could really whack. I mean, he was always big as well, much bigger than me. He was a heavy-handed boxer. And I sparring him, and I could deal with Carl for the first 6. If we sparred for 12 rounds, if you were to judge a spar, you can't judge a spar because sparring is practice. But if you were to judge a spar, the spars would be well even. I'd win pretty much all the first 6 rounds, and he'd win probably all the last 6 rounds because he was more durable and rugged and come on strong. I was quick and nimble and get in and get out. And I was sparring him on round 8, round 9, round 10. And I saw him coming in and these big, in telegraphic shots. So when you were sharp and early on, you'd be able to move and block. When you got tired, your legs, you get it's harder to move. But you still can if you're quick. Yeah. And I was always quick. And it launched into this big uppercut. And when he landed, mate, he hit Lucien Butte with a number of them, and they're big shots. Yeah. But he rarely landed because you normally do a move and you jab or whatever. And then my Achilles was sore. And I thought, because my Achilles was sore for years, as I mentioned, and to the point where every time I moved, stepped, pushed forwards, anything, it was agony. Got to round 10, I thought, I'm just going to take this one. I thought I was going to block it. I'm just going to take it. And he went to throw a backhand. He went to throw a backhand, a straight right. And I wanted to block it, and he changed it mid-punch, threw an uppercut, smashed me square in the face. Oh, my goodness. My nose, the jaw was locked. And then I fought about 10 days later against Wayne Reed. And I thought I knocked him out in 5 rounds. But in round 4, he's come at me, and I was much, much better than Wayne Reed. So I stopped him in 5 rounds. And round 4, he's throwing a big right hook. And again, same thing. My Achilles were so sore. And normally, I'd have moved away and brought him onto a backhand. But because my legs were so sore, I thought, I'll just block this one. And I've gone to block it. And he's come in and he's thrown it as much wider, a big wide right hook. Yeah. And my hand was here to block it, came around the back of the head, and my knee dipped. And I thought, and I composed myself and I stopped in the next round. But I thought, God, I can't keep giving away shots to these people, because it takes one punch, as I found out years later, one punch, career's over. Yeah. It could be one punch, you're knocked out, whatever. So after that fight, July 2014, after that fight, I went in for surgery, had surgery on both my Achilles. It didn't work. The surgeon didn't just not fix it. He put an infection in both my Achilles. So 4 months later, doing the rehab, I had to have another surgery to strip the whole Achilles, basically like snapping both Achilles surgically and tearing them back together. Like, it was a nightmare. Yeah. And then I was trying really hard. I condensed, so I was out for a year all told. So I condensed that second surgery, should have kept me out for 12 months. I would condense that into 6 months. I trained really hard. I was so diligent. I got back. So I boxed July 2015. It was exactly a year from the last fight.
That was your only fight in 2015, right?
Yeah, 2015. Yeah, I boxed in Germany. I just signed a deal with Sauerland. So I was promoted by Golden Boy in the US and Sauerland in Europe. So I had the perfect team. I fought a Ukrainian in Germany. And round 2, I bashed him up with a jab in round 1. Round 2, I've come out. I lined him up. I'm going to spark him out now. Boom. It bounced off his head and my shoulder came out. And in between round 2 and round 3, I had to use my own arm and my own knee to wiggle my shoulder back in the socket during that round. Yeah. I had to fight the rest of the fight with one arm, and I beat him and I won every single round. Yeah. And had the fight gone one more round, I would knock him out because I was getting on top of him and bashing him up. Anyway, I had shoulder surgery. I was out for a further 10 months. During that surgery, damaged a nerve. You can see pictures on my Instagram, but my arm is as skinny. It looks like a pipe cleaner. He damaged the nerves and my arms are withered away totally. That's when I did Strictly Come Dancing. I had no money. I hadn't boxed for a year. Another 10 months out. I finally got back after that 10 months. I had 3 fights, knocked them all out. I was fighting for the WBC International belt, which would give me a top 10 ranking for the WBC. Yep. At the time, Sal Alvarez Canelo was the WBC middleweight champion. Yep. We were both promoted by Golden Boy. We were going to make that fight the next year. So that would have been the big money fight as well, right? Oh, mate, I'd have won that fight, my WBC international fight. I'd have fought for the world title against Canelo. Minimum purse would have been $5 million. Yeah, I was going to say that. Frustrated. And the thing is, like, time, right? That you were robbed of that kind of $5 million fight. Mm. Yeah, and I'd done everything. I'd never earned any money. The fight where I hurt my eye, I got paid 17 grand. I'd go and spend in the 3 years out. I'd go and spend over £100,000 just operations alone. That's not trips back. I had 4 operations in America. That's just the 4 surgeries in America. That's not including the flights back and forward. That's not including the hotels, the consultation fees. That's just surgery, 100 grand. I didn't even earn it in my boxing career. I was like my biggest purse, 17 grand, and that went like that in one surgery, double that. So it's frustrating. I have to. Again, I'm not. It's hard to talk about my career and not whinge because there's loads of rubbish things happen. Of course. But if you want honesty, this is honest. You know, I had to sell my car and remortgage my house to pay for these surgeries, and there wasn't even to be in the end. But it was really frustrating, devastating, heartbroken when I had to retire. But I mean, that's life, right? Before we started filming, I said that quote to you there, like, things work out best for those that make the best of the way things work out. And that's something I've lived by because things happen out of our control all the time, i.e. quarantine, coronavirus. Like, no one wanted that. It's going to work out best for those guys that make it work for them. And I've done that my entire life. I've made the best of bad situations. And hopefully it's led me on to a whole new career now, which hopefully will be more favourable to me in terms of injuries and success. No, that's powerful stuff, man. And one of the things that really stands out is within boxing, you've got different levels of boxers, right? You've got people that just kind of want to be, you've got your journeymen, you've got people that are going to go to world title level, you've got people that just want to collect purses. You was always earmarked to someone that was going to be a world champion. And
like from the age of 12, you were doing major things. You delayed going pro, right? So you could fight at the Olympics. And it's with all of that, and for it to play out how it plays out, it makes sense to me why you say, when I've seen you said recently, you didn't really enjoy your boxing career. That being said, though, with all of the lessons you've learned from everything you said now, what are you doing differently going into wrestling?
No, good question. I like it when I do quite a lot of interviews and stuff, and I like it when I get asked questions I haven't asked before, and I've actually got to really think to give a good answer. And that's a good question, mate. So thanks for that. What am I doing differently? So a couple of things, and I usually end with this because usually people always ask me at the end, like, what advice can you give somebody, or what would you tell your younger self? And this is what I always say. So from a universal standpoint, what I'm doing differently this time to make sure I enjoy my career more is enjoy it. Like, enjoy it more. It sounds really silly, but if you want to enjoy something, just enjoy it. For example, I agree. Like, to make a point, my boxing career, my pro career, and you've heard me say this already. For those that haven't, I didn't enjoy a lot of it because a couple of reasons. One, I was always injured, and the physio bed, or the injured list isn't where any athlete wants to be, especially not when they've got the ability and they're talented and they're watching their friends or colleagues or people that they've beat or people that they're better than go off and become world champions and earn millions of pounds. Being on the sidelines is the worst place in the world to be. I spent my entire pro career there, and in some aspects, I'm still there watching guys that, in the nicest possible way, couldn't lace my gloves, go out there and become world champ, earn mad money. Like, that's enough to make someone bitter, you know.
Yeah. But that's a human emotion, though. I mean, you've hit the nail on the head. Like, you went to the Olympics with all them injuries, came back with a bronze medal, like, and I don't think there's anyone that would say Anthony Ogogo wouldn't have become a world champion. And
no, thanks, mate. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Like, I'll probably be unfair me saying this, but I always use Callum Smith as the yardstick. Callum Smith's now the #1 12-stone boxer in the world. You know, he's a tremendous fighter, earned loads of money, got all the belts. Fair play to him. On the Great Britain team, he was my reserve boxer. He was my #2, and that's not me being bitter saying that. That's fact. Yeah, that's fact. You know, like, I was told by one of the coaches that because of my performances up until one of my injuries, I was injured for the first Olympic qualifier, the World Championships. I dislocated my shoulder, as I said, and they, from the horse's mouth, they said they'd rather send me with one shoulder than Callum Smith with 2 shoulders because my results were much better than his. And I am knocking Callum Smith. He's gone on and done tremendous things, and obviously he's got better. Of course, he got better. He's now a world champ. He's really, really good fighter. And I always stress the point that when I say this stuff, I'm not knocking him whatsoever. He's a brilliant, brilliant fighter. And me and him, in the pros, could have a great fight or series of fights, like for all the marbles. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. But that was at the very least, me being as modest as possible, that was my level. Like, he was my level. But I know I was a level above that. Like you mentioned, there's levels in boxing, and he's brilliant. I was better. Like, that cannot be, disputed. Like, George Groves went on to become world champ and earn loads of money and do great things. That was my level. He'd say it himself, like, as kids, the young England team and the young Great Britain team, for a couple of years, the young England team was me and him. Like, because funding was a problem, they only had money to send guys that are going to go and win gold medals. Yeah. Me and him went to Finland, went to Sweden, went to Croatia, just me and him. Because we were the team. And won medals. And we'd go away, me and George would go away, and we'd have like a friendly rivalry. But I mean, it got quite serious. That who'd win the best boxer tournament award, because we went, I think that's Finland, and I won it. I boxed 3 times and didn't stop anybody, but won 3 good fights. And George Groves boxed twice and knocked them both out. We had a genuine argument at the airport in Tampere in Finland that he should have got the best boxer, or I should have got the best boxer. Went to Sweden, done the same thing. I boxed 3 times, won all 3. He boxed twice, knocked them both out, and he won the best boxer, and that pissed me off. So yeah, I mean, that was my level. It just wasn't to be. It wasn't to be. So what am I doing differently? On a bit of a side, on a bit of a tangent then.
No, it's fine.
Couple of things. I mean, like, my pro debut, right, is the best example. My pro debut was my pro debut. I mean, going walking onto a silly shot or getting hurt in a fight, I was always going to win that fight because I was better than Kieran Gray. Although it was good, it was a solid journeyman. And when the team chose him to fight, it raised a lot of eyebrows in the boxing world because he was tough and he could punch, and he never got knocked out. And that was the thing. You want to look good on the debut and knock somebody out. He was a good guy, Kieran Gray. Knocked him out in round 2. Boxed really well. Probably the best knockout I've ever had in my life. Big right hand, and I was happy, sure, but I was boxing 3 weeks later in New York, in Atlantic City. And I didn't want to celebrate because I wanted to fight again. I wanted to kind of go to a hotel and get to bed and wake up and train. And then I was up in Sheffield in front of 10,000 people. All my family, all my friends came up, and it was a really, really like cracking evening. And my team had kind of like hired like a VIP area in a bar. And the plan was to kind of go to the bar and have a few drinks or celebrate. But I didn't want to go because I was boxing 3 weeks later and I wanted to become world champ. And I thought my mindset back then was, I'll celebrate my career when I'm world champ. Up until that point, nothing to celebrate.
Yeah.
So I didn't really, and my missus said to me, you can't not go. All these people have come, hours come and watch you fight. You can't not go. Yeah. So we had an argument about whether I should go or not. And yeah, you haven't got a drink. Just go and show your face, and smile and shake hands.
Yeah.
So begrudgingly, I went. So I had a face like a slapped ass. Didn't want to be there. Didn't touch any alcohol. There for about an hour and a half, then I left. And it was just rubbish. I mean, like, I was in a bad mood. It was just rubbish, right? So my debut night went, and it was a bit shit because I didn't enjoy it because I was so focused on the next one and the next one and the next one. And unfortunately, and I'll give you an analogy in a moment, unfortunately, sometimes the next one never comes and you've just wasted a significant moment. Now, looking back, what I should have done, I should have went out. I didn't drink anyway, but I didn't have to drink. I went out, smiled, thanked everyone for coming up to support me, had a nice evening, and just been a part of the camaraderie of my friends and family. Yeah. Went back to the hotel, had a sleep, had a lie in, woke up, drove home, then trained. Yeah. That's what I should have done. Then I would have had a great, memorable night, boxing, nice time with my family and friends. That'd have been a special night for me. So it's kind of like, and I always thought, when I become world champ, then I'll celebrate. And unfortunately for me, for reasons out of my control, I never became world champ. Yeah. And I missed a lot of amazing moments along the way. It's kind of like people that climb Mount Everest. It's a lot of people climb Mount Everest, they never stop taking a view on the way up. They get to the top, and at the top, I mean, I've never done it, but from reading many accounts, at the top of Mount Everest, the view's a bit shit. It's like, you can't see that far, it's all cloudy.
A bit overcast,
yeah. Whereas, what people that do to make the most of their experience of climbing Everest, they start climbing. At regular intervals along the way, they'll stop, they'll turn around, they'll look around, they'll breathe in, they'll absorb the beautiful view. And then when they're ready, they'll go back and start climbing again. Do that 4, 5, 6 times up the mountain. You've got all those memories along the way. And then you still get to the top.
And you can
You're not
still
choosing one or the other.
Of course. Yeah.
Knowing that you've enjoyed the journey, not just life's a journey, not a destination. You enjoy it rather than getting there. So basically, how am I going to tell my wrestling career is going to change? I mean, life's all about making mistakes and then learning from them.
Of course.
If you don't learn from it, then you just wasted the opportunity, the experience. So this wrestling chapter for me, big or small, I'm going to take it all in. A little win, I'm going to appreciate it and enjoy it. A big win, I'm going to enjoy it even more. Whereas my boxing career, I didn't always appreciate the little wins along the way. So I thought one day I'm going to get the big win.
Big win.
And unfortunately, I never got a big win. So I should have enjoyed the little moments along the way. And from a physical standpoint, one of the reasons I think the eye injury was just really, really bad luck. And you couldn't make it up the eye injury. But prior to the eye injury, I think I got a lot of injuries because I trained really, really hard. If you ask anybody who's ever trained with me, they'd say that I'm a monster in the gym. I train my hardest. My coaches can say how dedicated, how diligent I am. I think one of the reasons I got a lot of muscle or labrum or tendon tears is because I've been a middleweight since I was a baby, basically. Since I was 16 years old, I've been a middleweight, so your body grows a lot. So at the end of my career, I was making the same weight for over 10 years, and I was training really, really hard off not a lot of like calories. I wasn't really repairing my body. So really, what I should have done looking back, I should have went up a weight category or two, ate more, and let give my body a chance to repair.
Give your body like your natural feel, because like where you are now, it seems like that's your natural build as you've grown. And I guess one of the hardest things, I guess, with boxing as well is because I've always heard Ricky Hatton, when he talked, he says that between fights, he wasn't in kind of shape for fight shape. He would just kind of let go. Was you constantly trying to stay at middleweight then?
Yeah, that's the frustrating thing. That's what pissed me off, stuff like that. Because Ricky Hatton, I know Ricky, he's a lovely bloke.
Yeah.
He was his own worst nightmare. Had he been disciplined and diligent like I was, his career would have went for 4 or 5 more years. He'd have earned twice the money he earned. He earned a lot of money, 30 mil probably. He'd have earned twice that. But he wasn't. He ballooned up in weight because he'd be on the beers and drinking, eating the curry. So he did it to himself. And then he didn't get a fight for 12 weeks and go, oh, fuck,
and then
I've got to lose all this weight now.
So
he did it himself. Whereas me, I didn't. I was so diligent. I'd go up in weight, of course, because I'm human and I was big for the middleweight. Yeah. But not to a point where I was overweight in the true sense of the word.
Essentially.
And that's the thing, and that's what done me, because I think I was training hard. Like I just trained hard all the time. And I obviously for 12-week training camps, it would intensify. But even when I was out at camp, I was still training hard. One, because I love boxing, and my mentality was train hard, you get good, you become world champ. So I was always training hard. But I trained too much, and even between fights, I didn't give my body a chance to recover in between fights, because over the 12-week camp, but even if you knock the guy out in round 2, it's the 12-week camp. That's what takes it out of you. Yeah. Like the hard spars and the early mornings and the running and the lifting weights. That's what smashes you up.
Boxers, and they all say this, and that's why when you say this is such a key anecdote, and it comes back to the whole thing about you saying enjoying it as you go along. You more than everyone know that boxing can be a very lonely place at times. When you're doing well, people around you. When things are not going well and the politics gets in and everything, you don't see anyone. And I always find it very interesting and weird where a lot of boxers tell you the same thing, that they've overtrained, that the 12 weeks took too much out of them, that they should have listened to the coaches, and then that they didn't celebrate the victory, and then they were injured for the next fight. And is that something that you think it's because you don't learn it when you're young coming into the game, that you need to kind of have the balance, that you habits, or...
I think in 20 years' time, I think, not everyone, like boxing, I always say boxing is like a dinosaur sport. It's the least professional sport in the country, in the world, because it's so, it's a backward, it's out of date. Like, I'm not knocking it, because it's been very kind to me in terms of it's opened doors to me still now. Like now I'm a professional wrestler now because of my achievements in boxing. Like I know that AEW wouldn't have signed me a random 30-year-old bloke off the street. I want to become a wrestler. I will give you a contract. That's not how it works. So I'm given this opportunity because I was a boxer. And I appreciate that. However, boxing, like oftentimes in boxing, your coach, let's say your coach is 45. He boxed when he was 20. That's 25 years ago. 25 years ago, strength and condition and nutrition and all this stuff is very much different than it is now. Yeah. And now, and a lot of coaches will say, "Oh, you got to do this, you got to read that, you got to do this." So they're telling their boxers to do what they did, and they're only doing it because their trainers did it 25 years before that, and so on and so forth. So people still now in boxing gyms all around the world, this country, the world, will be doing things that their coaches and their coaches and their coaches did. So it's quite outdated, and people don't like to open their mind up. And I found it hard when I hurt my eye. I was living in a different place, and I found a new training team, and I got myself in the best physical condition I've ever been in. That's why it's so tough not to have the career, because when I hurt my eye, I got a new boxing coach, because there's loads of stuff I can't really talk about. I got a new boxing coach, I got a new strength and conditioning team, and it was so good. And I want people to see, had I boxed then for another 5, 6, 10 years, people would have seen the true me and how good I could have been. But people never got to see that, and it's so frustrating. The guys in the gym saw, because they saw, but that's a small select group of people.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the new team I was training with, they got me like lifting certain weights or doing certain things, and also I was always like, "Oh, you can't lift weights because I'm already really big as a middleweight. So if I put any size on, it's gonna make it even harder to make the weight. Or if I put weights on, you'll get slow and too bulky or whatever." And that's such an old, outdated philosophy on strength and conditioning.
Yeah.
But every coach in the country, but a tiny select percentage will think, if you do weights, you get.
Oh, I can't. Hello, I can't hear you. I can't hear you, Anthony. Anthony. I couldn't hear that last bit. Sorry, the signal just cut out.
Oh, sorry, buddy.
Sorry about that.
I was just saying that there's coaches around the country. They think that there'll be loads of coaches around the country that think that boxers shouldn't do weights or can't do weights because if you do weights, you'll get big, you'll get bulky, you'll be too slow. And Frank Bruno is always the person people think about, too big, slow, and you'll run out of gas quick because you're too bulky. Now that's not true at all. But that was even my mindset because coaches that I respected told me that.
Exactly.
They're getting told that because that's what they were told. And maybe back then, 40, 50, 60 years ago, people weren't doing it correctly. So if you did do weights, you maybe did get a bit slow or your body got tired.
Yeah.
But nowadays you can do more. So can't think what I was talking about this now. But yeah, basically, boxing is quite an outdated sport in terms of this, how forward thinking it is. But I think in 20, 30 years time, people that are kids now or maybe just being born now, in 20, 30 years time, we'll see world champions that did have a really scientific approach to boxing because nowadays it is beginning to change. And I think we as a sport, boxing as a sport, is now beginning to catch up with the likes of like professional football, professional rugby, UFC. Those guys are way more
It's interesting
ahead
you
of
mentioned
us.
UFC because one of the boxing coaches at the moment that's getting a lot of praise for his approaches is people like Angel Fernandez in terms of bringing that sort of MMA sort of approach. And everyone he's worked with has said, yeah, you know what, we did things a bit differently and I felt the benefits, which kind of leads me to going into the wrestling now. So AEW is very much a challenger brand. Recently had the showcase, which was amazing. I actually really enjoyed it. It was bonkers. Yeah, bonkers, but it was really enjoyable. And in terms of the part you see yourself playing within this new world, how far do you want to take it? Because of course you didn't get to achieve what was kind of the ambition, becoming a world champion in boxing, but what is it that you want to achieve in wrestling? I know you want to have fun with it, which it seems like you're doing, but what else do you want to achieve in it?
I think you know the answer I'm going to give already because when you're kind of cut from the same cloth that I'm cut from, you know what I mean, the transport can change, but the destination remains the same.
Yeah.
Like I want to become world champion boxer. I wanted, and I still want a big mansion and an Aston Martin and be able to go here, mum, here, sisters, have this, have that, because that's what I want. And that's the lifestyle I want. And we grew up really poor. We grew up with nothing. Like I was lucky. I've got 4 sisters, and I was lucky because I was a boy. I couldn't really, my sisters couldn't really hand their clothes down to me because I was a boy. So I got my own clothes. But my 4 sisters had to share a bedroom. We grew up poor, right? So we never had stuff growing up. So as a kid, I wanted, when I was growing up, I thought, I want this. I want a big house. I want a flash car. I want all the things that we didn't have. And that hasn't changed. I still want that. And I genuinely thought boxing was going to give them to me because I was very good and I applied myself correctly. But as we said, unfortunately, things don't work out the way you want to sometimes. But all you can do as a person, as an athlete, is make the best of it. And this is the best of the way the cards have been dealt. Like, I was dealt a horrible hand. I've got my hand. I've gone, bosh, wrestling. That's the best hand I could possibly play by a country mile. And I want to become world champ. I mean, and people don't know. Wrestling's a really funny industry, man. It's a really odd industry. It's weird. It's funny. It's wacky. It's extremely competitive.
I wanted to ask you that because boxing is boxing, right? The boxing industry. Everyone kind of knows. Everyone always says the politics and whatnot. how does the boxing industry and the wrestling industry, how are they similar and different?
I'm still, I'm still figuring out the wrestling industry. I'm still trying to work it out. I really am. First thing I'd say, so when I said I wanted to become a wrestler, I had the two biggest companies in the world vie for my signature. So WWE flew me out to Orlando for a week's tryout, and I had a week there, really, really good. And they wanted to sign me. And AEW, I flew out to AEW to meet Cody Rhodes in Atlanta, and they wanted to sign me as well. And he's proper nice bloke. And I want to do AEW because of what we're doing as a company. It's just unbelievable. Like, there's loads of horror stories about WWE. And listen, I'm not going to start talking about them because they were great to me. They flew me out. I had leg room. Wasn't quite business class, but they gave me leg room.
But at least you had something.
Yeah. And they've been good, but AEW, after talking to Cody and me and Tony Khan, I knew that it just felt right, and I wanted to go down that route, which I have done. However, when I went to WWE, I never wrestled before. I didn't know. I had my boxing boots on. I got some cheap knee pads for like a $5, like at the airport, and I've turned up, and then everyone was being so nice to me. And after the second day, I was flabbergasted, like how nice people were being to me. And I said, guys, you've all been so nice to me. Like, thanks so much. Just thanks. Like, because in boxing, people are doing me nice. People, they're nice to their gym mates, or they're nice to their group or their coach or whatever. If you're an outsider, you're an outsider. Yeah. And that stems back from amateur boxing. When you're a kid traveling the country, there's West Ham Boxing Club, give them evils, or there's Rapid Boxing Club, give them evils. It's just weird, right? No one likes each other, and you got to go and fight or whatever. The amateur in wrestling, everyone's been really nice to me, and I said, thanks for being so nice to me. And I looking back now, it's quite funny. And I thought, they must like me as a person. They must think I'm funny, think I'm nice and kind. They must like me as a bloke. And then one of the guys said to me, they pulled me to the corner and said, in a nice way, but a roundabout way, he said to me, the reason why we're nice to each other in wrestling is because, so I'm wrestling you, man, right? We'll wrestle together. Ultimately, my life, my health is in your hands, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So, obviously your job is to go out there and put on a really competitive match and to look really and to have a great match and do some really cool stuff and put on a great display and entertain the fans. But that's the second job. The first job is to keep your opponent safe. Look after and keep them safe, right? Now, if there's a needle between me and you, and if I don't trust you very much, I might think, he wants to do this. Let's say you've got a particular move that you'd like doing, and it's dangerous. Yeah. I might think, no, I don't need to do that on me today because I don't fully trust you. I keep me safe. Are you going to protect my head? I've got a wife, I've got such a, do I want you to do this move and potentially hurt me, or worse, break my neck, or worse, kill me? Things can easily happen. So everyone's nice to each other because if me and you, we like each other, we haven't got to like each other, but if we're nice to respect each other and we trust each other, we can go and I know that your best move, you'll look after me, and vice versa. Yeah. We can go on and put a really good show on for the fans. The show's better. We get talked about more. So our careers go up. So it's very different. So that's the main difference I've felt so far. Boxing a bit more I don't know. It's very, very macho boxing. I'm saying wrestling's macho as well. It's not an industry, but it'd be hard for me to comment properly because I haven't really spent much time in it because it took me a long time to kind of get my visa to go to the US. I got there. I was there for 3 weeks. Then coronavirus pandemic broke out and I had to come home. So it's an environment I haven't spent as much time in yet as I would have liked to. Yeah.
No, sweet. And with that, then going forward with sort of the development and everything, what is that centered around? Is that centered around learning moves, etc., or what comes from that sort of phase?
That's the thing, mate. It's professional wrestling's really it's a great if people haven't watched it for years, I'll just urge to watch AEW. And it's a great industry. It's it embodies so much. For example, reason I know it's not the actual question you've asked me, but I'll come on to that. the reason why for me this was the only thing that I could, the only thing I wanted to do when I retired from boxing is because for me, professional wrestling, it embodies two things that I love. Like, it is the ultimate in professional combat, like boxing combat, UFC combat, wrestling combat. You against your opponent, and it's combat, it's head-to-head, that physical combat. But it's also a lot of acting. There's a lot of acting involved. And I've even had I had my the boxing career, I wanted to go into acting after my career, like many years down the line. It was always one of the plans for me to do, because let's say I'd had my career and I'd retired at 36. Like a 5-time world champ and £20 million in the bank. At 36 years old, you're still quite a young man. You've still got a lot of life left to live. And I wanted to do something and challenge myself and push myself. So that was the next thing for me. Obviously, my retirement got brought forward, the best part of 10 years. I've now got all this, again, the way I'm quite a positive person. I look at things in a particular light. And the way I've looked at it is I've now got 10 more years, which I didn't plan on having, to go and do something else that I want to do.
Yeah.
And I've always loved wrestling, and this, it embodies the physical combat plus the acting, show business. You merge them together, you've got wrestling. So you ask, what am I like? What's the development like? First things first, you've got to learn to wrestle. I mean, it sounds silly, but you've got to learn the moves. Learn how to give the moves, take the moves, submissions, all the holds. And look, everyone knows nowadays wrestling, the finishes are predetermined.
Yeah.
But when people say it's fake, it really winds me up. I've been in the game for 5 minutes and it still bugs me. It always bugged me even before I was wrestling, because if it was fake, people wouldn't die in the ring. People wouldn't break their necks in the ring, break their ankles. They wouldn't suffer severe injuries in the ring if it was fake. It was very, very real. It's very, very athletic. It's very, very demanding, physically demanding on the body. Really athletic and aerial. It's just predetermined. So because of that, like because there is that need, or there's that competitive drive, you want to be the best. You have that head-to-head competitiveness. You really do. I can't think where I was going with this story, but anyway, you've got to learn, like, obviously the moves and stuff. But on top of that, it is a show. It is entertainment. Like, you're entertaining for the 10,000 guys in the arena and the millions of guys watching at home, and you can't really, really see thing. They teach you on day one. Let's say you've got somebody in a wrist lock.
Yeah.
Wrist locks hurt, by the way. Everything hurts as well. Everyone thinks everything hurts. Like, wrist locks hurt, like chops to the chest hurt, getting slammed on the floor, it all hurts. Yeah. And one thing that surprised me, I've been a wrestling fan my entire life, so I knew the business from a fan's perspective. It surprised me when I went to the training, like my first week. Like, I knew it was predetermined but real. I was surprised how much everything hurts. I thought they'd have ways to make it hurt not as much, but everything hurts. Which is good.
Canvas, it'll be a cushion instead of the actual.
Yeah. I just thought, that's canvas. I thought, it's got to be well springy. It's got to be well bounced. It'd be like a bouncy castle.
Yeah.
Mate, that first body slam. I win that shit. I knocked you. Yeah, mate, knocked you for 6. Everything, and every day when I was in WWE. We were doing like bumps, like when you like smack them against the floor. And one of my bros been wrestling for 15 years, and he did it, and he coughed, and he went to me. It was my first week of training. He went to me, mate. I've been doing this for 15 years. That first bump of the day never gets any easier. 15 years. 15 years.
That's crazy.
So it does hurt. It does hurt. But to be a good wrestler, you've got to be good in the ring. Obviously, you've got to be good, on the mic. You've got to be a good performer.
You've always had that charisma about you, though. So I guess for you, that side of it is probably a natural fix. You've always had that persona that you can kind of walk into any room and show your worth. So I guess in wrestling for you, that's probably going to be the easiest bit. Have you thought of a finishing move yet, or you've not got that far?
I think I personally haven't got that far. I was there for 3 weeks, and I had to come home. It can take a lot longer than that to be polished, but not that far yet. I mean, I think it'd be obvious for me to have some sort of punch as a finish, because I'm boxing. I mean, it'd be silly, as I mentioned earlier. I mean, they haven't signed me. They're not gonna dress me up in some mask, I don't think, and me just be any guy, because there'll be guys. I mean, the place where I'll be training, the Nightmare Factory. So Cody Rhodes' own training center. Yeah. There's guys there that are 18 years old that are mustard, that are really good. Yeah. I'm over 10 years older than them. So I'm and they've been wrestling for 5-6 years. It's taken me a long time to get to that level.
Yeah.
So there's no point. They've signed me for me, being Anthony Ogogo, an Olympic medalist, a boxer. So they're obviously going to want to utilize some of that. The only thing, like a real punch in wrestling is actually it's illegal. It's a legal move. So I am going to be working on some moves. I've got a few moves in mind. It's hard to find a good finish move because everything's been done. Everything's been done now.
Yeah.
And then the option is you do a rock bottom, like because there's the Rock's rock bottom. If I did a rock bottom, it's always going to be compared to the Rock's rock bottom. Yeah. Even if I did a better than the Rock's rock bottom, it's the Rock's rock bottom. Yeah. So it's hard to kind of it's difficult, but that's part of it. But the best wrestlers get anything over. So I mean I can't think of an example at the moment, but there's a guy called Orange Cassidy in AEW, and he's a cool surfer dude. Doesn't do anything. It's the weirdest thing. It's the maddest thing. In wrestling, something you always hear is less is more. So if you can make, like The Rock. The Rock's a perfect example. Yeah. He had the rock bottom and the people's elbow. The people's elbow is just an elbow drop. That's all it is.
But it was so dramatic. So dramatic.
Man, so dramatic. Yeah. Did the elbow pad and the hands. It's like, mate. An elbow drop, and then the poor person taking it would bounce around like been electrocuted and get the 1, 2, 3. And he won so many world titles with that elbow drop. If anybody else at the bottom of the card did an elbow drop, their opponent's kicking out after one count. But because of The Rock, and he adds his flavour and his charisma, like there's a guy that oozes charisma. The Rock, man. So less is more. So Orange Cassidy doesn't do anything. He wrestles with his hands in his pockets. He doesn't do anything. He's lazy. He's slow. Like he'll do one move. The fans go mad because they want to see. They want to see him take his glasses off or put his hands in his pockets. It's weird. So if you can make small things mean something, well, that's the power of professional wrestling. It's really odd. And people who have no clue what I'm talking about, if you hear me saying that, you're gonna think that sounds really rubbish. And it should be rubbish. Like a bloke putting his hands in his pockets should be really rubbish.
Really well.
But it works, mate.
Yeah.
And you get 10,000 people paying $50 for a ticket, going mad for a guy doing that. It's weird, but
no, it's crazy, man. But Anthony, thanks so much for your time today, man. I think the real thing for me is seeing how happy you are about going into this new career. It's really refreshing, and I really hope it goes well for you, and I hope that you get to enjoy it this time as well. But yeah, massive shout out to you. Keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully this situation's over so you can get back out there and and get more lessons in. But no, massive respect, and thanks for your time today, man. That's another episode of Quarantine Talks. We're out.